up on stands again. I have been chasing a mystery noise on this car, and it has been driving me a little bit spare. Now the front end is up in the air. I've had it up in the air before, but only one side at a time. And I've noticed as I've been driving it that sometimes I have this mystery squeak, kind of like a grunchy squeaky noise. Initially I thought it was the brake on this side, and I had a garage have a look. They couldn't find anything wrong with it. The brakes do seem to work perfectly fine. What's peculiar is sometimes when you turn left or right as you're driving, the squeak will go away. Some days there is no squeak. After a while the squeak clears up. But I've never been able to replicate it until now. So I now know, I think, what's causing it, and it's not something I can fix and not something I need to worry about. With the wheel turned, you can see the CV boot here. And this is in perfectly fine condition. There is nothing wrong with it, it's nice and healthy. And it's a big concertinaed rubber boot, as they usually are. But when you turn the wheel, that's the noise I've been hearing. When you straighten the wheel out, it stops doing it. What a bizarre problem. There's not really anything I can do about this. This is just a noise this car makes. When I've had one corner of the car up in the air, it hasn't made the noise. And I've never been able to pin it down. But I think what's happening is when it's cold, the rubber is just stiff enough that it's not moving out of its own way and it's making that creaky noise. And after a bit of driving, it warms up a little bit and it stops doing this. I can't think what else it would be. I can't fix this problem. It is just a noise my car makes, and I just have to put up with it. At least it's nothing more serious. I was worried it might be a brake issue or a clutch issue. They all seem to work perfectly fine. It's just old car stuff. It's November, it's a bit cold, but it is at least dry. So I'm going to have one more go at this job. The last time I tried this I wasn't as well as I thought I was, so I couldn't do it. And the thing that's stopping me is two bolts, which is this one and this one. And they're in pretty tight. Let me show you what the problem is as well here. Now, bear with me if I'm repeating myself, it's been a while, but this whole bracket here needs replacing because the rubber portion has actually separated. So as I'm driving down the road, this is knocking a bit. Common problem on Princesses and Allegros. Fortunately, I do have spares, but they can be hard to find. But it's been doing this for a while because you can see here where the nut has chewed away at the opening there. And when we get this nut off, because I've had it off once already, you'll see that there is one part of it that the metal bracket has been chewing into the nut. So it does need replacing. Now I know the two at the top here come undone fine. The two underneath here, they come undone fine. The pivot shaft nut here, that comes undone fine. But these two, which hold the whole rear axle via this assembly here onto the car, they're proving more difficult. I didn't have the strength to do it last time. A friend has lent me a impact driver rattle gun thing, so we might try that, but I am a little bit concerned these might shear. So yeah, and if that happens, well then I've really got trouble. But we'll see how we go. It's a 17mm. I'm going to go straight in with my breaker bar and we'll just lean on it and see what happens. That's just bending the bar. a bit of back and forth on this one. Oh, it's moving, I think. This bottom one does not want to know. Oh, maybe. I think we've just got that one. Yep, it's going. Left a nice noise. Okay. I think we might be alright. I think I might be able to do this. I'm happy with this because I can see there's a gap appearing. I don't think I'm at risk of shearing these off now. That's a huge relief. Also, where the bracket meets the body, as I've undone these, I can see the movement as this bracket is coming off. Before I undo those fully, one thing I've made sure of is the axle is supported with the jack. Because remember, this is the only thing holding the axle onto the car. And I'm going to undo these on the top and the same that are underneath, and the pivot shaft bolt before I take this off the body, because if I take that off the body first, these are all going to be a lot harder to do because the bracket's not going to be held onto anything. I've got these bolts nice and loose now. I've already got this one out, which is the top one, and you can see it's one of those where it's got sort of the unthreaded bit at the end just to help it locate. You'll soon get to see how dead this bracket is. I managed to get everything loose enough that I can just use the ratchet now, and as I was using the ratchet to undo this last one, oh dear. So on these brackets you have a metal piece and a metal piece and a rubber sort of pad in between, and this gives some damping with your rear suspension. In addition to everything else, cuts down on vibrations and things, and it's just completely unbonded. Now, when the nut is on here, you can't actually just pull the whole thing through. If this does happen, the way that it all goes together on the car means that your axle doesn't just suddenly fall off the car. That only happens if this bit rots out, which is another problem these cars have. So yeah, I'm really glad that this is actually all coming undone. Normally, I've done this before. I have had to replace, I think, both of the ones on the back in the past. But yeah, it's nice I've not had to take it to the garage. It's all undone. Now, the other thing, I didn't get it on camera because I'd turned the camera off, is as you're undoing it, this plate will do this, and it can lock up everything here. So you might have to keep your hand just on the top as you do it. There is, now then, where have I put that? There's a little washer in here, safety washer. So what should happen is this should all slide off, like so, and that's the safety washer. It's like a conical shaped one, and that holds onto this plate here, so when this is all bolted together, everything all stays put. Let me show you the damage that this being debonded causes. So inside your bracket here, that's where it goes on the car, and then the axle goes through that way. and this is keyed, so it's got a flat surface on this side. That corresponds with a little flat surface in here. It doesn't really show very well on camera, but there's a flat surface that side, so that keeps everything straight when it's bolted in. This is your trailing arm, and through there is the pivot shaft. Now, just like on every Allegro and Princess, mine are seized, with the possible exception of Agnetha, but yeah, he's doing things properly. So I can't do anything about that, which means I'm just going to have to trust the alignment is okay. Usually is. This is the bracket for the axle cross tube, which you can see there, and that disappears all the way to the other side of the car. We're not disturbing any of that, the jack's holding it up, and yeah, this is the piece where it goes onto the back of the car. So that's where I'd repaired before to protect these captive nuts up here, which fortunately didn't seize, snap off even. Anyway, I'm going a bit off track. So this is the washer that holds all of that together, and it's like a conical sort of washer. So you have to make sure that the big side is, so you have to make sure the big side of it is against this flat side here. And then this is the big nylock that goes on the end. And what's been happening is here, this is the really bad bit. Because that's had too much movement, because that rubber's gone, it's been chewing away at the nut itself. And since I had this off and put it back together, it's not been very long. It's already started chewing off another surface. Now, I do have a spare one of these that isn't damaged, so that's what's going to go on the car. And I'm going to get some new ones to get rid of that problem. But on the bracket here, that's supposed to be a circle. And you can see where that nut's been chewing away at it. And that's what's been making my banging noise on the back occasionally. A lot better since I welded up the back end, but this was definitely contributing. I'm not going to throw this away though, and I know that might seem a bit odd. Reason being, these are very hard to come by. So there are companies and people that can remanufacture these things. So if I get this remanufactured when I can't find one in the future, it's worth keeping, because fundamentally it's still fine. It's just the rubber pad coming unbonded that's been the problem here. So that needs to be okay. Everything's slightly different. Now the fun of just trying to align everything. I'd forgotten this bit can be awkward. There's a few annoying bits with this job. This one, no problem. Same with the ones underneath, you just put the ratchet on that way. This one, you have to use a spanner. They are a 13mm, And my goodness, ratcheting spanners are your friend on ones like these. Unless you're clumsy like me. You don't need to watch all of this. I'll bring you back in a bit. Right, I said I'd got a replacement for this damaged one. And I do. It is an old one. But it's not damaged, so it will be fine. The Nerlock section of it's a bit squished, but that'll be alright when it's bolted on. I will be getting new ones of these, and I will just replace the lot because, well, it makes sense. I just don't have any in right now, and I need to deal with this problem. This is the new bracket, and you can see how much more material there is on there than on the one I'm taking off. So this one is quite dead. And that's just how it goes. They do wear out over time. Refitting is reversal of removal, and it should be a lot easier to put back together than it was to take apart. It can be quite difficult getting all of this to line up properly. There's not really any easy way to do it, so I always make sure as much as possible I just do things by hand, because the last thing you want is to cross thread anything. It's enough to pull things into shape normally. I'm just having some problems with these smaller ones lining up properly. I'm not sure why. It's like this bracket is too far towards the back of the car. Part of it could be as well the fact that all of this rubber's fresh, so everything is going to be a little bit differently aligned. But the multi-purpose adjustment tool helps. Where did I put that? As can a pry bar. If I can get things to pry where I want. That's promising. So close. These are on far enough, I know I'm not cross-threading them, so let's see if I can just pull this in with these bolts. So, almost. Okay, what I think is happening here is I think the axle is too far towards the front of the car. So I just need to figure out where to pry to get that forwards. Backwards even. I know what I mean. Words. Screwdrivers, is there anything they can't do? Little stubby one, dropped it in the hole down there and could just get enough movement to get this to actually go where I want it to be. Wasn't much. I think it is just because this is a new part, so my clearances are in slightly different places. And I've got the joy of trying to get that to stay where it is and not spring back. Don't cross thread, don't you dare cross thread. That is not a happy bolt. What else have we got? Got you. This one's just not as happy as it could be. I've got the other 3 in, no problem. It's just this one. I don't know if it's unhappy threads or what it is. Feels alright. Turned out it was just a bit of dirt in the thread. Easily resolved, thankfully. Now we just tighten everything down as tight as we can go, really. I've already done these with the socket, so I'm just going to go over with the spanner. It's a bit easier to hold in these spaces. Right. So, these just need a final tighten with the long pole. It's the kind of important. That way. I forgot about that. The reason I'm using the extension on this is I can't. The head of the breaker bar is actually too big to fit in the gap. So I actually have to put the extension bar on because it's thinner and will fit. But then I've only just got enough space before it hits the trailing arm. Great, I love working on this car. It's amazing. Tight, that'll do. That's that one. I'm basically going as tight as I can manage. That seems the sensible approach. So I've done all the 4 smaller ones. I've done these 2 that hold it onto the body. I'm just going to double check this one because I think I backed it off to line everything up. So that's another bar job, that one. This one's a 24, these little ones are 13s, and then these are 17s. So we get into the right torque setting there. That'll do very nicely. Super. All done. It's amazing what you can do when you're not ill. Right, now the challenge of getting this back on the ground because, obviously, normally you would jack under the jacking point here where I've got the axle stand, but because we're working on the axle, you can't do that. And you have to take the wheel off for access. So you can't just leave it on the ground either. So what I found I had to do was the end of the displacer here, this is where the little pushrod end lives, which is a bit like the damper on conventional suspension, sort of. But that's a really good point to jack under, because it's quite a good shape for the cup on the jack. And while the axle is still attached to the car, this does lift the whole car, so you can actually then get your axle stand under your safe point. It's not ideal, but there's no chassis underneath this car, you know? There's very little to jack underneath. All these ribs and things you see, they're mostly just floor strengthening pieces. It's amazing how little structure there is in one of these. It does make them very easy to repair, at least. Just before I let the car off the jack, you see the nut there? That's staying in the middle of that circle now, whereas before it was just going straight up to the edge, which means this bracket is doing what it should be doing. So things should be a lot better when I'm driving. I'm happy to have that finished, because that's a job that I've not been able to do. I'm not sure where this is going to come out in the video schedule, but depending on how long ago it was, I had a period of ill health for quite a long time that I'm only just coming out of, and there was a lot of things I couldn't do. This was one of them. I didn't have the strength to do it, and I didn't have the wherewithal, the mental faculties to do it either. So although it's only a little job, it's quite a big deal for me, and it feels like turning a corner with the health side of things, which has put me in a really good mood. Now I'm going to be very careful for the rest of the day. I'm not going to push it. It's a Sunday, and I'm going to just enjoy having a relaxing day, and I hope you do too. Thank you for joining me on this little tinkering adventure with the Princess. There will definitely be more to come. This car always wants a bit of attention. And of course, description, there's all the good ways you can support me. There's my website, there's Patreon, there's all manner of things. So do some clicking about, do some support, it'll all be good. And I shall see you in the next video, which will be on Tuesday at 3 PM. Bye for now.